Hi folks, it's Evo here from Thundermist Lure Company, and welcome to today's episode of Thundermist Fishing Tips. I'm all bundled up. We got a bright sunny day upon us today, folks, and very little wind. In fact, no wind right now, and that's fine because we're fishing here in the Niagara River. And what I'm going to do, folks, is just drift in this current, and I'm going to bounce. What I did is I brought some Stingnose with me today, and I'm going to open up with the Stingnose peanut bunker. And I'm going to open up with the 1.5 ounce size. And I also brought with me some Eyedrops. So I brought a pack of Eyedrops with me. I brought a few different packs, but I'm going to open up with the Chartreuse Eyedrop. And all I'm going to do, folks, is just tip one of my treble hooks. Just one single hook, because it's a soft plastic, the Eyedrop. And I'm going to tip it. It's going to add an extra attractor and a little extra scent. So that's how I'm going to fish. Or what I'm going to fish with. Now, how I'm going to fish is basically, I'm going to check there. You can tell when you're on bottom because your line will go limp with your jigging spoon. And then all I'm going to do, folks, is just jig it up, let it flutter down, pause for a second, jig it up, let it flutter down, pause for a second. And what will happen, folks, is the fish will hit it on the pause or on the drop. And the other thing I like to do is I'm working it just off the bottom. Oh, that was maybe that was hitting the bottom. Anytime you feel anything different, just set the hook. So I'm running braided line, so I'm going to be able to feel absolutely everything down there. So if you see your line jump, if you see it stop, if you feel a little tick, just set the hook. Okay, so I'm not sure what we're going to get into today. I would love to get into walleye. I love to jig for walleye. But I'd be happy with a bass too. So I mean, we'll see. There could be silver bass, smallmouth bass. Not sure what's out here today, but we're gonna find out. And a jigging spoon is a great way to find out what's down there. I'm working the bottom. I'm working the strike zone. Stay tuned, folks. Okay, so this guy just hit it just as I was ready to bring it in. He nailed it. Just a little smallie. Okay. Look at that little bass, took that big Stingnose. Hey, that's just a nice little smallmouth right there, eh? Nice little bass. Okay, let's get him off the hook and right back in the water again. Okay, nothing huge, but definitely a start. Okay, get it back in. All right, let's get back out there again. And you noticed, I was so excited. I didn't have my life jacket on earlier. It's warm out. I've got long sleeves on. I've got my gaiter on. Got my sun hat on. I'm protected from the sun. And even though it's not rough, I put my life jacket on just to be safe, right? Always better to be safe than sorry. Okay, time to get back out there again. Very typical, right, folks? When you catch one, you typically start to catch more. It's the first fish is always the hardest. This one just nailed it on the drop. Just hammered it. Doesn't feel big again. I'm using a one-piece 7-foot medium power rod. And look at this. We got ourselves a Mr. Wally. Small walleye. Look at that. Hey? Right there. That's a good sign, folks. Nice little walleye. That's a good sign. And my Eyedrop is no worse for wear. Little walleye. Look at that. We'll get him back in. He can grow up. Now, the reason I must mention, the reason why I went with 1.5 ounces, that bass came out of 18 feet of water. So why would I use 1.5 ounces and 18? Well, I'm starting in 50 and I'm drifting back over top. So those fish are coming anywhere in between. So I went with a little bit of a heavier jig so that I can get down there in the deeper stuff and have a little bit more control. Now, when I get up into the shallower stuff, I don't really need 1.5 ounces, but that's the drift, so you make do. All right, I said I wanted to jig up walleye. I got myself a walleye, and I got myself a bass. Mind you, both really small. But again, folks, you want to see those small fish. That means you've got a healthy fishery, and you've got those small fish are going to be big fish someday. So good sign to see. Let's see if we can get into some more. Just jig this off the bottom, let it hit. Once in a while, let it bounce off the bottom, lift it up. That's the technique, folks, right there. Oh, this one doesn't feel net worthy either, but he also just nailed it. I tell you, with this braided line, you can feel absolutely everything. This has got to be something really small. Maybe another small walleye? No, look at this, folks. We got ourselves a silver bass. Hey, hey, hey. Come on over here, buddy. There we go. Hey, that's a nice silver bass right there, folks. So that's why when he hit, he actually started swimming up. He started swimming up towards the boat, and I figured I had a bass, but not a silver. So we got a smallmouth, we got a walleye, and we got a silver bass. I did say earlier, you never know what you're going to get here. And he didn't hesitate to hit that Stingnose. He just nailed it with that little eye drop. What the eye drop does, we're going to let him go. The eye drop, folks, changes the fall a little bit, and it adds some scent. That's all. All right. Get it right back down to the bottom. These fish are hugging the bottom. You got to be on the bottom in the strike zone to get those fish. If you're jigging aimlessly up high, you're not going to get any hits. So things are happening. At least the bite is on today, folks. The weather's nice and calm. And I mentioned about the sun. You know, I'm in my 60s right now. I don't ever remember the sun being like this. That's why I'm so protected. You got to protect yourself. It's just not worth it otherwise. So, okay, here we go. Let's see what we can get, folks. See if we can get into another fish. Maybe a little bit bigger this time. You just turned the camera off. What do we get? Another silver? It looks like it could be another silver, folks. In fact, it is. Look at there. That's a little bit bigger even. That's a nicer fish. He came out of 30 feet of water, and he just nailed it. Literally, we just shut the camera, and he just nailed it. Okay. I got my eye drop. We got a nice silver bass right there. Hey, aren't they a nice looking fish? Beautiful. All right. Can't say we're not getting bites. Nothing huge, but that's a nice size silver. As far as silver bass go, that's a real nice one. All right, time to get back in again. Okay, I don't know. Small fish, big bite, I don't know. He nailed it. He's not a drag pulling fish though, that's for sure. What do we got now? We got ourselves another smallmouth. Wow, really aggressive, folks. Look how small that bass is. Gee, he just nailed it. Boy, did he hammered that Stingnose. I felt him hit, and when I set the hook, I could tell it was something really, really small. Okay, that one felt a little bit better. When I set the hook, I felt some pressure. So this one might even be a net-worthy fish. I don't know what I got, folks, but it's definitely bigger than what I've been catching. And you know, it's just a matter of time before you get into bigger fish. A lot of times the smaller fish will attack the baits before the bigger fish get a chance to move on them. So sometimes you'll do a drift, get a bunch of smaller fish, do a second drift, and get into bigger fish. That's very, very common, actually. You know what, folks? I got a real nice walleye. A real nice walleye. Oh, yeah. That, folks, is a real nice walleye right there. Beautiful. There we go. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, there we go. Shook the hook. Shook my eye drop. I love it, folks. Hey, how's that for a chunk? Isn't that a nice chunk right there? That, folks, is a nice chunky walleye. You know where he's going to go, right? I released all the smaller fish. This is just a perfect eating size. That's a lunch right there, folks. Okay, so let's get him in the box. And you know what? You know what I always say, folks? Where there's one, there's more. Time to get my line back out there again, re-rigged, and start jigging. Okay, so after that last nice walleye, I figured let's go back up and do another drift, because like I say, where there's one, there's more. And like I said also too, folks, the fish are down close to the bottom. There we go, you gotta be within a foot of the strike zone to be onto those fish. Because they're hanging out, they're not hanging out in the current, they're on the bottom away from the current. They don't want to be in the current, so they're sitting at the bottom, out of the current, waiting for bait fish to come by. I got another silver. Okay, there we go. And that's where those fish are. And if you're in the strike zone and you're jigging in the strike zone, if there's a fish around, he's just gonna nail it. Wow, he's got all 3 trebles in his mouth, all 3. Oh boy. All right. Oh, come on. This is gonna be very interesting. The way to do that is to get one out at a time. Concentrate on one treble, there we go. Then concentrate on the second treble, and then the third treble. This one is just in the lower jaw. Okay. See you later, bud. But yeah, that's the most important part, folks, is you want to be, a little bit of weed there, we'll get that off. You always want to be in the strike zone, working off the bottom. And the other important thing is rod control. You want to have your rod, basically your fishing rod, you want it pointing down so that when you do get a hook, or when you do get a hit, you've got the ability to set the hook. Like if your fishing rod is up here, you're not going to have any leverage to set the hook. So you want your rod tip to be right there. So let your jig go down, hit the bottom, jig it up, and keep your rod tip pointed down. That gives you more leverage for the hook set. Another solid bite. It doesn't feel huge though, but not as big as that last walleye, but he feels like a walleye for sure. He's giving me that walleye kind of head shake. Let's see. Oh yeah, it's a walleye, folks. There we go. That's a nice walleye. Hey, okay, not as big as that last one, but bigger than the small one, right? Hey, that's perfect. So I don't know. I mean, I'm using the Eyedrop today, the Chartreuse one. Is it making a difference? Is it helping me? I don't know, because I will tell you this. You don't need to tip the Stingnose. They work fantastic just the way they are. But sometimes a little extra attractor sometimes makes the difference. Making the difference today? I don't know, but guess what? It's not coming off. I'm leaving that Eyedrop on there, that's for sure. Because this is, they're on the bite and it's working. But you know what, folks? I'll tell you what. If you have not ever jigged, give it a try. It really is a lot of fun. You'll have yourself a great day. The weather's great today. The fish are on the bite. I'm having an outstanding day. Wherever you're tuning in from, I want to thank you for joining me today. Today's episode of Thundermist Fishing Tips. And as always, folks, until next time, good luck. Good fishing.